Sarah hears whispers behind her everywhere she goes. Even when he's alone, David believes his food is poisoned by his own family. Amina stares at the ceiling for hours, unable to speak or move. James has 1,000 racing thoughts, but can't finish a single sentence. They have never met, and they come from different backgrounds, but they live with the same diagnosis, schizophrenia. Before we dive in, please remember this video is for awareness and education and not for self-diagnosis. If you or someone you care about is struggling, please talk to a mental health professional. Each journey is different and only a trained expert can give a diagnosis. Schizophrenia symptoms are made up of 3 categories: positive, negative, and cognitive. Positive symptoms don't mean either good or bad. They mean an added experience to a person's reality, such as delusions and hallucinations, seeing and hearing things that aren't there. Take, for instance, a student who believes his lecturers are secretly filming him during lessons. He states that he hears sounds of a clicking camera, but no one else could hear. Delusions, on the other hand, are deeply held false beliefs, like thinking the TV is sending messages to them. Others think people are out to get them and are suspicious of everyone, even the people they used to trust before. These are called persecutory delusions. Grandiose delusion is one of the positive symptoms where they believe they are a very important person, like the president, a minister, a powerful religious leader, or even Jesus. This can be dangerous because it may cause self-harm when they think they are invincible and even walk into a moving car. Negative symptoms are missing experience. For instance, lack of emotion, low motivation, poor speech, and withdrawal and isolation from other people. Other negative symptoms include anhedonia, which is lack of pleasure. Many other mental illness experience negative symptoms, but what makes schizophrenia different from others is the following: blunt affects, where they don't show any emotion, negative or positive, unlike in depression where they show massive sadness. In blunt affect, they show no emotion. For instance, a person who has been told that their family member has passed on, they probably become sad or mad, but a person who has a blunt affect may show 0 to no emotion with no facial expressions. Another type of negative symptom is inappropriate affect, where they, for instance, laugh at a funeral. That is inappropriate affect. Negative symptoms may also range from having aimless pacing to sticking to a position for a long time, which is called catatonia.
The body of the patient can be contorted into almost any posture. The patient may maintain the posture for several minutes.
Which can sometimes become a very uncomfortable position to be in, but they still stick to it. These are symptoms that affect focus, thinking, and remembering. In these cognitive symptoms, they may also portray something we call word salad. This is where they say a word or strings of words that either rhyme or just random and don't fit the context. For instance, the train clean sleeps happiness, but don't butter the jumping cloud. Sounds poetic, but meaningless. I went to school the blue moon Friday, talk rabbit, fast television. These are just random associations with no sentence structure. My thoughts? They, shoes, in the sky mother says the radio is washing blue. These words lose association, meaning they are thinking many things at the same time. Tariq loves reading novels. He could finish a whole book in a day. But lately, he can't follow a paragraph without getting. He struggles to remember what he read a minute ago. And when someone asks a question, it takes him a while to understand what they were asking. He's not being rude. His brain is just not processing information like it used to. That is the silent side of schizophrenia. And here is the hard truth. Many people with schizophrenia are aware that something is off, but they can't always explain what. It's frustrating, isolating, and heartbreaking. That is why empathy is so important. For a few people, schizophrenia crashes like a storm. But for many people, it creeps in quietly and slowly, like a fog setting in someone's mind. It may start with negative symptoms, cognitive, then slowly develop to positive symptoms. Let's talk about Amara. Her family noticed her change. She stopped texting her friends. She spent hours staring at the ceiling, and they nicknamed her Daydreamer. She whispered to herself and laughed when no one else was around. At first, they thought it was just stress from exam or from girl mood swings. But then she started saying things that didn't make sense. Like, the math teacher planted a thought in her brain. These telltale signs are called prodromal symptoms. They include withdrawal from loved ones, trouble focusing in class or work, sudden drop in performance, strong beliefs in strange ideas, feeling like something is off but not knowing what. And here is something important. These signs don't always mean schizophrenia, but they are still worth paying attention to because early support can make a massive difference. This is a question that many people ask, but it's simply not just one thing. First, there's genetics. If someone in your family has schizophrenia, chances increases. A brother, a father, a mother, an uncle. But at other times, people with no family history of schizophrenia still get it. Why? 2. The brain itself. Research shows that people with schizophrenia often have subtle difference in the brain and how certain brain chemicals like dopamine are processed. But again, family history and these brain changes are not always enough to cause schizophrenia on its own. Take Lucas, for instance. He grew up in a stable home, great parents, went to college, had a great life, but suddenly he unexpectedly lost his mother, felt extreme loneliness, and started using cannabis to cope. A few months later, he started hearing voices and becoming paranoid. That is because stressful life events, traumas, and drug use, especially cannabis, trigger schizophrenia in people who are already exposed to that gene. Let's clear the air because schizophrenia has some of the worst myths, which can do real damage. People with schizophrenia are violent. The truth is, many people living with schizophrenia are not violent. Mostly they are hyperactive and pace here and there, walking around, but they are not violent. They tend to be victims of violence by other people who don't understand them. What they mostly need is support and not fear or isolation. Nope. That is a complete different condition called dissociative identity disorder. Schizophrenia affects how people think and relate to reality, and it is not their identity. People with schizophrenia can't live normal lives. That is also not true. With the right treatment and support, many people manage their symptoms, hold jobs, have relationships, and even go to school. Schizophrenia is a serious condition, but not a death sentence or a monster that people think it is. Let's start replacing fear with facts. Let's trade judgment for understanding. The few examples I shared above are just a scratch on the surface of what it is and what it is not. It is not just a diagnosis, it is a fight for understanding. Schizophrenia isn't just a set of symptoms on a checklist. It's a deep human experience, sometimes terrifying, sometimes isolating, but also filled with moments of clarity, resilience, and even joy. To those watching who might relate to some of this, you are not alone. And please don't self-diagnose or diagnose someone else. Talk to a mental health professional because you deserve clarity and not confusion. To caregivers and loved ones, thank you. Your patience, your efforts, and even your frustrations all matter. Let's be kinder, let's stay curious, and let's remember that behind every label, they're trying their best to stay grounded in a world that sometimes doesn't feel real. I am Naomi, a mental health nurse, and if you found this helpful or eye-opening, share it with friends and family.